Hey Celtics Nation, buckle up because this one is going to sting. The Boston Celtics are off to one of their roughest starts in recent memory, and honestly, fans are starting to feel the weight of it. 3 games into the season, 0 wins on the board, and even though there are some bright spots, the overall vibe around this team is tense. You can feel it in the arena, you can see it in the players' faces, and you can definitely hear it in the way the fan base is reacting online. Everyone's asking the same question: what's happening to the Celtics? Let's start with the one guy who continues to carry this team on his back, Jaylen Brown. Against the Detroit Pistons, he put on an absolute clinic. 41 points, 12 for 25 from the field, and 5 for 9 from beyond the arc. He was aggressive, determined, and looked every bit the all-star that he is. At the free throw line, he was nearly automatic, sinking 12 out of 15. Brown gave everything he had, playing with intensity on both ends, and tried to ignite a team that, at times, just looked lost. But basketball is never a one-man show, and even when Jaylen is at his best, he needs some help. The night started off promising. Boston came out swinging, taking the first quarter by a score of 33-24. The ball movement looked crisp, the defense was active, and it finally seemed like the pieces might be coming together after 2 tough losses to Philadelphia and New York. But as the second quarter rolled around, Detroit started chipping away. Cade Cunningham began to find his rhythm. Jalen Duren started dominating the paint, and by halftime, the energy completely shifted. You could almost feel the frustration on the Celtics bench, those long faces, those quick glances toward the scoreboard. The third quarter was where things truly began to unravel. Boston's shooting cooled off dramatically. The turnovers started piling up, and Detroit smelled blood. Even when the Celtics tried to rally late in the fourth quarter, it was too little, too late. The Pistons stayed composed, hit their free throws, and walked away with the win. The final score, 119-113, doesn't even tell the full story. It was a game where Boston had chances to take control, but simply couldn't close. Jaylen Brown, though, looked like a man on a mission. You could tell he's taking this slow start personally. Every possession, he was fighting through contact, attacking the rim, and trying to set the tone for his teammates. He wanted that one badly. But around him, the help just wasn't there. Derek White struggled for most of the first half, missing all 4 of his 3-point attempts early before managing to end with 15 points on 11 shots. Peyton Pritchard had some nice moments, dropping 21, but his shooting was just as inconsistent, 2 for 8 from deep. You could sense he was pressing, trying to force shots that normally come naturally to him. And then there's the rest of the starting lineup. Nimi Izqueta only managed 4 points, and rookie Hugo Gonzalez, making his first ever NBA start, couldn't get anything going offensively. 0 points, 1 rebound, no assists in 18 minutes. That's a tough debut to swallow, especially after how promising he looked off the bench against the Knicks. Jaylen Brown himself praised him after that game, talking about how Gonzalez brought energy, effort, and the right mentality. And that's exactly what head coach Joe Mazzulla wanted to reward, that fight. But against Detroit, the rookie looked a bit overwhelmed. You can't really blame him. It was a big moment, and he's still adjusting to the speed and physicality of the NBA. The bench gave Boston a bit of life, with Anthony Simons putting up 12 and Josh Minott adding 10. But again, it wasn't enough. The real issue for this team right now isn't just scoring, it's rebounding. Pritchard was the only Celtic to grab double-digit rebounds, pulling down 10, while on the other side, Jalen Duren was a monster with 17 boards. Ozar Thompson chipped in 12 rebounds of his own. That's where Boston lost this game. Second chance points, hustle plays, and sheer physicality. The Pistons outworked them, plain and simple. And that's what's most concerning about this Celtics team right now. It's not just that they're losing, it's how they're losing. The fight isn't consistent. One quarter, they look like contenders. The next, they look like a team still trying to figure out who they are. The chemistry isn't there yet, and you can feel the void left by the stars they've lost. Let's talk about that for a second. Jason Tatum is out with a torn Achilles, and even though he's reportedly pushing to return before the end of the season, there's no real sense in rushing him. This version of the Celtics doesn't look ready to make a deep playoff run. Without Tatum, without Kristaps Porzingis, Drew Holiday, and Al Horford, it feels like a completely different team. The names they brought in, solid guys like Chris Boucher and Nemias Quetta, are fine pieces, but they don't replace the talent, leadership, and experience that walked out the door this offseason. You look at this roster now, and it's a mix of players still trying to find their identity together. The bench is thinner, the rotations are shaky, and Mazzulla's lineups feel experimental. Some nights, the defense clicks and the offense collapses. Other nights, Jalen goes off while the rest of the team disappears. It's that lack of balance that's really killing Boston right now. The front office had to make some tough decisions this summer, no doubt. The new collective bargaining agreement hit hard, especially with the luxury tax apron. Al Horford even came out recently saying the new rules destroyed the team that Boston had built. And he's not wrong. The salary constraints forced Brad Stevens to make choices no GM wants to make, breaking up a championship-caliber core just to stay under the cap. Instead of reloading for another run, the Celtics found themselves cutting costs and betting on development. And while the long-term vision might make sense financially in the short term, it's been painful. The chemistry that once defined this team, the defensive rotations, the ball movement, that fearless mentality, seems to have vanished. What we're seeing now is a group of talented players, but not yet a cohesive team. There are flashes, moments where you think, okay, this could work. But those flashes fade quickly, replaced by long scoring droughts, missed assignments, and frustration. Still, there are some encouraging signs. Jaylen Brown looks locked in. He's not just putting up numbers. He's stepping up as a leader, holding his teammates accountable, and trying to set the tone for what this new era of Celtics basketball should look like. He's been vocal about it too, praising young guys like Hugo Gonzalez for their energy and focus. That kind of mentorship matters, especially during a season that's bound to test everyone's patience. And speaking of Hugo, even though his first start didn't go the way he hoped, the kid has potential. He's only 19, already earning a starting nod, and showing glimpses of defensive tenacity that the Celtics desperately need. The stat line doesn't tell the whole story. He may not have scored, but his effort on the defensive end, 2 steals and a block, showed that he's not afraid of the moment. You can tell he's got that fire in him, the kind of hunger that Boston fans respect. Joe Mazzulla clearly believes in him too. He's praised Hugo's understanding of his role, his focus, and his willingness to defend at a high level. Of course, there's still a lot to clean up: shot selection, spacing, timing, but those are things that come with experience. If the Celtics are going to rebuild on the fly, they need players like Hugo to grow fast. For now, though, the Celtics' record tells the story. 0 wins, 3 losses, and a mountain of questions. Can this team find its rhythm without its stars? Can Jaylen Brown keep carrying the load night after night without burning out? Can Joe Mazzulla stabilize this roster before things spiral? It's early, but the pressure is already mounting in Boston. The fans are loyal, but they expect effort, grit, and results, and right now, they're getting flashes without consistency. This season might turn into a grind, but it's also an opportunity. An opportunity for the younger guys to step up, for leaders like Brown to grow into bigger roles, and for this new Celtics identity to take shape. It won't happen overnight, and the road ahead looks rough, but in Boston, resilience is part of the DNA. And that's exactly what this team needs to rediscover right now. When you look at what's going on with the Boston Celtics right now, it's clear that this is a team caught between eras. One foot still in the past, remembering the days of Jason Tatum, Kristaps Porzingis, Drew Holiday, and Al Horford anchoring a championship-caliber squad, and the other foot trying to step forward into something new, something not yet fully defined. It's a strange place to be. The front office didn't plan for a rebuild, but with injuries, departures, and the harsh realities of the salary cap, that's exactly what's unfolding before our eyes. The roster turnover has left gaps everywhere. Defense, once the backbone of Boston basketball, has slipped. Last season, teams feared driving into the paint against the Celtics because they knew Horford and Porzingis were there to meet them at the rim. Now opponents are getting easy looks, offensive rebounds, and second-chance points that would have been shut down a year ago. Jalen Duren's 17 rebounds against Boston wasn't a fluke. It was a symptom of a larger issue. The Celtics are being out-muscled and outworked, and that's not something fans in Boston are used to seeing. Offensively, the rhythm is missing. There's no clear identity right now. When Tatum was on the floor, everything ran through him and Brown. They complemented each other, one slicing inside while the other stretched the floor, forcing defenses to make impossible choices. Without that duo, the spacing has collapsed. Opponents can load up on Brown, daring others to beat them. Peyton Pritchard, Derek White, and Anthony Simons are capable shooters, but none of them consistently draw the kind of defensive attention that opens up lanes for everyone else. You can see it in the possessions. Too many isolations, not enough movement, and a lot of standing around waiting for someone to make a play. Joe Mazzulla is clearly experimenting, trying to find combinations that work. Sometimes, you'll see lineups full of energy, but no shooting. Other times, you'll see shooters on the floor who can't keep up defensively. There's no balance yet, and that inconsistency is killing any chance of momentum. The rotations feel like a puzzle where a few crucial pieces are missing. Mazzulla's coaching philosophy has always leaned on pace and space, but when your roster doesn't have the personnel to execute it properly, it starts to look chaotic. Jaylen Brown, for his part, isn't running from the challenge. You can see he's embracing his role as the primary leader now. He's more vocal on the bench, more assertive in huddles, and his tone in post-game interviews has shifted. He's not just talking about offense anymore, he's talking about accountability, energy, and mentality. That's the kind of leadership you want from your star, especially when things are going south. He's setting the example, diving for loose balls, playing through contact, and taking pride in his performance, even in defeat. But leadership can only go so far when the team around you is still learning how to compete at that level. And speaking of learning, the younger guys are in a crash course right now. Hugo Gonzalez, for instance, might not have had the debut he dreamed of, but he's getting a first-hand education in what the NBA demands. Playing against grown men, learning defensive rotations, understanding timing, all of that takes time. Yet, despite his rough first start, you can see flashes of why the coaching staff believes in him. His length on defense, his instincts in passing lanes, his quick hands. Those are traits that can't be taught. If he stays focused, he could become one of the cornerstones of this new Celtics era. Nimi Izqueta is another player trying to carve out a bigger role. He's strong, physical, and has shown glimpses of what he can do as a rim protector. But the challenge for him is consistency. There are possessions where he looks dominant, grabbing boards and altering shots, and then stretches where he disappears. Boston needs him to be more assertive, especially with their lack of interior presence. If he can bring that edge every night, it could help stabilize the defense while they figure out the rest. But before we continue, please remember to subscribe to the channel and give the video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest news about the Boston Celtics. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. A quiet buzz began to ripple through the NBA community last night after reports surfaced that Donovan Mitchell had thrown a few pointed jabs at the Boston Celtics ahead of their highly anticipated matchup. While no official statements have been released by either team, several sources close to the Cavaliers' locker room claim that Mitchell, never one to shy away from competition, made some bold comments during a private team meeting that quickly found their way into the wider basketball world. According to those whispers, Mitchell allegedly questioned the Celtics' toughness and hinted that some of their stars don't show up when it matters most. The remark, supposedly made in a lighthearted tone, was enough to ignite a wave of speculation across social media. Fans instantly took to X and Reddit, debating whether Mitchell's comments were genuine mind games or simply locker room banter that escaped into the wild. Inside Boston's camp, reactions have reportedly been mixed. Some players are said to have brushed it off as motivational fuel, while others didn't appreciate what they perceived as disrespect from a rival who has yet to lead his team deep into the playoffs. The Celtics, boasting one of the league's most dominant rosters, are known for using any slight, real or imagined, as extra motivation. If Mitchell was looking to light a fire, he may have done exactly that. Observers note that this isn't the first time the All-Star guard has stirred the pot before a big game. His competitive streak and swagger are part of what make him such a dynamic presence on the court. Still, timing is everything. With both teams chasing early season momentum, any perceived edge, psychological or otherwise, could prove decisive. Whether Mitchell's words were part of a deliberate strategy or just playful confidence, one thing is certain. All eyes will be on him when the ball tips off. Every possession, every glance toward the Celtics bench will be dissected. In the NBA, rumors have a way of becoming reality once the game begins. And if Mitchell backs up his talk with another electric performance, the noise surrounding him might just become thunderous applause. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Boston Celtics, please subscribe to our channel and give the video a like. We always appreciate your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.